This show is sponsored by Horizon HVAC, who you can count on for all of your heating and cooling needs. Also by CES Construction, who specializes in bathroom and kitchen remodels. Today we sit down with Albert Martinez, owner of Verified Barbershop in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Albert talks about his struggles as a kid and the discipline that it took to turn his life around. I hope you all enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Mindset Radio Podcast, episode 4. All right, here we are, episode 4 with Albert Martinez, owner of Verified Barbershop. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big reasons why I have this show and I started the show is because it allows me to connect with people in this community, in this area that all want to do that, want to make a change, that are in business or want to continue with another business. And a lot of people had mentioned your name. You were brought up a few times. And I think it was about 3 people reached out to me individually and they said, hey, you should have this kid on. He's got a cool story. And I said, why not? And that's what this show is all about, is getting people on that I can just get to know on the fly. And hopefully down the line, we get to do something in the future. We develop a relationship and, say you got something down the line 12 months from now, hey, I got this. And that's what this show is all about. It's the ultimate form of networking and getting to know people in the coolest way possible, I think.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where were you born? What's your story? And, give me a little backdrop.
I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but I've lived in Rhode Island most of my life. So, I don't know. Tell me a little about myself.
So you were born in Brooklyn. How old were you? How long did you stay in Brooklyn for?
I was young. I was like 5 or 6 when we moved to Rhode Island. So I lived in Rhode Island.
Do you remember any of New York at all?
Only because we went back and forth in the beginning a lot.
Yeah.
And when I got older, I got family out there, so I went back and forth once I got older.
Do you still go out there like to this day?
Not as much as I want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing.
New York's tricky, man. New York is. I love New York. Yeah, I've been there a bunch. I've been to the Bronx Zoo. I've been to the Bronx. I've been to Brooklyn. I've been to Manhattan. Times Square is beautiful.
Yeah.
We went to a Gennady Golovkin fight at the Garden when I was working for CES, a promotion company, and we stayed at this hotel right across the street from the Garden, and it was this old school, just like ran down hotel. And when you walked inside, the lobby was beautiful, but like on the outside, it just looked so vintage, like out of Gotham. Yeah, and that's what I love about New York. You have those like areas of New York that like just look so so prestigious, and the history behind New York is just awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just tough. It's going in a weird direction. It seems like there's a lot of like with the defunding the police and all that crap, and it just seems like it's in a tough spot, and it's been in a better spot.
Yeah,
but I can't speak on it too much because I'm not there a lot, but from what I see, it looks New York's beautiful, man. I love it. You've been to Times Square and all that stuff?
Oh yeah. Every time we go, we popping down there. My family's from Brooklyn, but we go down to Times Square. I just went out there about 2 weeks ago and went to a Knicks game.
Oh really?
My first Knicks game, so that was pretty
first cool. Basketball game or first Knicks game?
My first basketball game.
I've never been.
Yeah, so it was cool. I've been to the Giants Stadium, but that was my first time.
Yeah, I've been to Gillette. I've been to Fenway, but that's it, man. That's it. I want to go to a Celtics game. I've never been to a Celtics game. And I want to start going to a few Patriots games outside of this, outside of Gillette.
Yeah.
I think that's cool to just bring your kid or some friends and kind of just travel to New York or Jersey or wherever. We were going to go to a Dallas game last year, but it never happened. Yeah. So when did you move to, so you were 5 years old or something around that area when you moved to Rhode Island?
5 or 6 when we moved to Rhode Island.
Did you move here just for better, just to get out of New York? Like what was that?
Yeah, I think my mom just didn't think it was a good place for us to grow up.
Yeah.
So she moved us out here, me and my older sister.
Yeah.
Moved out here, and then I went to school my whole life in Woonsocket. I'm the only one that never left. My sisters moved away. My youngest sister lives in South Carolina. My older sister lives upstate now.
Yeah.
My mom originally had moved down to South Carolina too. So, but I stood.
What was your childhood like? Did you would you do I was a skateboarder when I was younger. I love skateboarding. I love like playing basketball. What kind of stuff did you do?
I got in trouble.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah,
but I got into a lot of trouble early when we first came out here. So,
was it the people you were hanging out with, or what do you think started that?
It was just a time, man. Everybody was just kind of we were outside more,
I know.
It's not like now everybody's just stuck in the house on their phone. We were just outside getting into shit. So getting into stuff.
No,
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
So, I got into a lot of trouble early. Like I got into trouble like I ended up doing like 10 years. Like,
Straight?
No. I did a year, then I did like 2.5, I did 4, stints like that. And I ended up with like 10 years.
Did it start in truancy? Because that's how it started for me. I started like with truancy court, and I feel like that's a design that is it's a very tricky subject for me because it seems counterintuitive to me. It feels like, you want us to stay out of trouble, but you kind of induce us into the system very early. Like for me, I was, when I was in truancy court, I was a freshman in high school. That's when it all started. And, I would go into like the lunch area, and there would be like a panel, like a courtroom, and they would be like, you were late this many times. And they had like crazy. In-house suspension.
Oh yeah, I've done that.
I was always in, I think it was called ALP or I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. But I was always in in-house suspension, always suspended, always in trouble. And it started, and I actually went to court. Like when it got so bad to the point where like the in-house truancy wasn't working, they sent me to actual court in Providence, where I had to go sit in front of a woman judge and talk about, how I smoked weed and how I skipped school. And it started that cycle of just getting in trouble. Eventually they put me in a rehab, and then in a training school. I was in training school for 6 months. I was in a rehab for 6 months. And it started that whole cycle of like just getting in trouble. And like when you're at that young of an age and you're getting told all the time that you're trouble, you're doing things wrong and this is what it's going to lead. I feel like it can be counterintuitive. I guess it could help some people, but
well, I didn't get into a lot of like that kind of trouble, like really that much. When I was in school, I was actually kind of a nerd, to be honest. I just got into trouble like out of school. Like, you know what I mean?
Did you like school?
I liked school, man. I was so mad when I went to training school. They gave me 6 months and I got my GED while I was there because I just couldn't sit there not doing that. So I got my GED while I was there. But I didn't understand the system. That when I got out, I tried to go back to school.
Really?
And I was like, can I come back?
Yeah,
and
I did. I stayed back.
Nah, you can't come back. You're basically already graduated now. I was like, damn.
They let me come back.
Everybody was still in school. I wanted to go back.
Yep. They let me come back. I was a junior and I stayed back my junior year. And I ended up thankfully being able to get back in, and I did 5 years in high school and I ended up graduating. But there was nobody to tell me that, I had to wake up every day and go to school. I kind of just knew that I had to get a GED or a diploma, which thankfully I got a diploma because I ended up getting into the union, and I don't think I would have been able to get in the union without a diploma. So it happened for a reason, but yeah, man, it's
same for me. I got when I was doing time is when I was doing in 2000. I was doing 2.5 years, and that's when I got my barber's license. That's when I decided I wanted to cut hair in 2000. I had been back and forth a couple of times. I got my license. I came home. I cut hair for a couple of years. Then I ended up going back doing 4 years. And then in that 4 years, I was done. I came home in 2008 from the 4 years, and I was.
Were they like serious charges? Can you?
Yeah, I mean, well, possession, intent to deliver. I was selling shit like stuff like that, and I had a possession of a firearm. That's what got me the 2.5, and then another possession with intent that got me 4.
What was your first charge ever?
My first charge ever was possession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old were you?
17.
Yeah.
That's when I did 16. And I did a little bit of time in the training school.
Yeah, it's tough.
But once you're in the system, it was easy for me to roll over into the ACI, and then I was caught up in that for a while. Like I said, I did almost 10 years, and then I was doing that last bid, it was 4, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so done with this.
Yeah.
And that was it. I haven't been back. I've been home since 2008, December 2008. I haven't no more trouble. Been back to just.
Was it tough adjusting, getting, doing that time and then coming back and acclimating to, the streets out here? How was that?
It was more just staying away from, like the biggest thing was just staying away from the people I knew were still doing this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so I just had to kind of I didn't even change my circle. I just kind of didn't have a circle. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just kind of just stood to myself. I was making music, so I was traveling. So that helped out. And I was working at a barbershop. So it was like my hours were kind of lax to let me travel for a while and stuff. Like I toured for like a year and a half straight.
Wow.
With I don't know, this guy that was this local guy, his name was Flawless.
Yeah, I know Flawless.
Yeah,
I don't know him, but I know of him. Yeah.
Yeah, I was signed with his label for like 4 years, but we toured for like a year and a half.
Oh, no kidding.
Right until pre-pandemic.